Hi, I'm Agnes. My project proposes an experimental house and filmmaking set for 100 people in a replica of the Forbidden City, where makeup, costume, and the creation of reality from creative industries is reappropriated to transform everyday life. The film about the ambitious Emperor Qin restates the myth of national unity, which is the made-up image the film tried to convey. In order to reproduce the historical image, the Emperor Qin Palace was built from scratch on farmlands of Hengdian in central Zhejiang province in China. The city walls, magnificent palaces in the film, were built according to historical records. Qin Palace is not the first film set there. In 1996, Guangzhou Street was built for the Opium War film. Then, 12 more scattered film sets were built, spanning thousands of years of history, including 1930s Shanghai, a full-size replica of the Forbidden City, etc. Apart from the construction of film sets, all kinds of filmmaking-related business and services thrive there, using cheap local labor and resources. Costumes, props, vehicles, and temporary structures are all available in the surrounding villages. Inside warehouses and workshops, carpenters produce vintage furniture to reconstruct ancient life scenes. Within the Forbidden City replica film set, when they are filming in one palace, other vacant palaces act as backstage area. Extras do makeup by the window of a palace. These film sets are usually built from an assemblage of traditional fragments without specific context. The film sets only come to life when narratives are projected on them. It's a scene that a concubine paid tribute to an empress. This is a show showing the wedding ceremony of the empress and emperor. In contrast to the ritualistic image in the period show, an extra called Zeng Jian plays card games with his friends right behind the show. Many extras, including Zeng Jian, feel disenchanted about their work. He hides in a corner to avoid acting. During working hours, they waste time waiting. Usage of film set blood, they act, sleep, and eat there. Like many others in Hengdian, Zeng Jian works as an extra, but in the evening, he goes back to his tiny apartment, cooks for himself, and watches the same period shows that he participated in to escape his own reality. His life is trapped in fantasy production. Like Emperor Qin and Assassin, the show that Zeng Jian is watching is also a story of national prosperity under unified administration. The imperial Chinese examination in the show convey a high degree of certainty, which contrasted sharply with the sense of uncertainty of contemporary society. To remove the makeup put on Hengdian, some extras were making film about their real life in the back of house. Another indie horror film was produced by only 11 unprofessional filmmakers on a low budget. The project argues that the fiction-making process and life has been turned into a mechanism for fantasy, which keeps people trapped in endless production of the same circumstances. It should instead be turned into a tool for experimenting with new realities. Therefore, Zeng Jian and 100 other filmmakers, extras, set designers, and cooks, etc., have assembled a group to work on a new series of films and will occupy the replica of the Forbidden City for many months. They will experiment not only with how to create the film as a collective, but also how to organize the sets into a giant house for them to live together. Zeng Jian and his group tried to distribute utilities both for the living and filming. Palace of Earthly Tranquility was for imperial wedding and worship activities. It's reappropriated into dormitory and eating area. The design principle here is to prevent the original use of the building. The central space where officials kowtow becomes a rotary hot pot. Elements for imperial wedding are now used for dinner party. The wedding room is divided into 2 separate rooms for individuals. The emperor's rooms now becomes a dormitory also. Filming equipment borrowed from local film studios is misused for setting up living environment, such as film spacelight and scenery footage for creating partitions between living units. This is where Zheng Jian and his group sleep. Props from Forbidden City are misused for collective living. For example, this imperial vase is holding umbrellas of Zheng Jian's film crew. This collective usually eats in a courtyard, covered with a canopy. It's informal and reversible. Then let's look at the makeup studio. It's not only for the litter makeup costumes, but also the makeup of set elements and domestic objects. The beauty of film set elements is contaminating people's daily life. The boundary between domestic life and production is blurred. This building is divided into two parts with curtains. Zheng Jian's crew take showers in one half of the building, while the rest remain as a film set. These filmmakers experience a juxtaposition of mundane life and film production. Ladders and walkways from film studios provide access to interstitial space. In conclusion, supported by resources from local villagers, Zheng Jian and his crew transformed the Forbidden City replica into a combination of film set and a co-living house by reappropriating film set equipment and profaning Forbidden City space and elements.